Welcome, everyone, to Season 2 of Murder in Stratton County. The mystery saga continues with even more murder, mischief, and mayhem. Written by Elizabeth Spoon and Ryland Mason. Narrated by me, Brian Shepard. Episode 16. Flight or Fight. Welcome back, everyone. Where were we? Oh, yes. The Christmas festivities went up in flames, and at the end, a dead body was revealed to be hanging from the inside of the top of the Christmas tree. Again, all Brian could do was just stand there and be amazed and watch everything just burn. It was almost like he was in a scene from the Christmas Vacation, Griswold's Christmas tree going up in flames. Yet theirs did not reveal a dead body hanging inside at the top. Who is this person? Nobody will know for sure right at the moment, as they were burnt to a crisp. Chief Hudson was quick in responding and having his boys come on over from the fire station to put out any and all flames, and it was now going to be considered an arson. Great. Just what the mayor needed was another investigation. "Are you all right?" Jordan asked, as he stood next to Brian, who was still gripping the handle of the light switch, just staring at the Christmas tree. Well, what was the Christmas tree? "Yes, I'm fine. I just don't understand why this person insists on ruining a very good moment. And those decorations cost the town a lot of money," Brian squawked, as he could see out of the corner of his eye Dugan coming around the corner. Meanwhile, flashes of light seemed to be coming from the other side of the tree. Brian noticed that it was Diego, who was taking pictures with his camera, while the bodies still hung in the tree. "Dugan, tell Diego to stop taking pictures right now. And where's Chief Hudson so he can have the men help us with this?" he said as he pointed to the body. "There is a dead body on display for the whole town to see." "Calm down, old friend. They're on their way right now. The paramedics should be arriving as well, along with the coroner," Dugan said, as he seemed to just not be fazed at all at the fact that they have another dead body in town. Did he just say calm down? Calm down? Dugan, the festivities just went up in flames, and now there's a dead body. "And you're telling me to calm down?" he said, out of frustration, as Jordan just stood there, squeezing Brian's hand, trying to calm him down, without calming him down. Before Sheriff Ratchet could respond back to Brian, that's when Chief Hudson came around and was wondering who the body actually was. "We're going to have to wait for an autopsy to be completed before we know who it is, because they're burnt to a crisp," Dugan said, as they all just stood there, watching the firemen cut the body down, and off with the coroner. Why Dugan thought the paramedics would be of any help, Brian didn't know, considering the town doctor was standing right next to him. "There's no waiting to find out who it is. I already know who it is. It's Debbie," Brian blurted out, because he had had enough, and it was plain to see who it was. "Wait, how do you know that?" Dugan asked, while the rest just looked at him, waiting for the answer. That's when Brian saw Diego over the chief's shoulder, writing in his notepad. "Tongue," Brian answered, as he knew there was no escaping Diego, and it would save him from having to repeat this later, as he knew Diego would press Ryan for a statement. "Tongue? What does that mean?" Chief Hudson asked, while again everyone looked puzzled. "You can clearly see there is no tongue, guys, or am I the only one paying attention?" he pointed out, as the body bag was being zipped up. Sure enough, everyone looked at the burnt, charred head. There was no tongue. So this was indeed Debbie. So now the alarms started to go off in everyone's head. Who let her out? And why kill her? And now, who is this person? Great. More questions. Yet it looks like Deputy Marks is moving awfully fast, something in hand, as he waved it about frantically. She left a note. Here, she left a note, Marks said as he stopped in front of Dugan, who grabbed the note. Sure enough, poor murdered Debbie left a confession, naming the contact person who may just be the mastermind behind all of this. What does it say? Brian asked, trying to get a peek of the letter. This would finally put him at ease at night, if they could just find the person responsible. Be at an end with all the killing and tormenting. I'm going back to the station. Marks, finish up here and meet me back at the station when you're done. And off Dugan left. Something spooked him, and Brian saw it. With the body of Debbie finally gone, the main street was practically empty. Police tape everywhere, as it was now a crime scene. The murder of a murderer. Brian could just imagine what Diego's headline would read. After everything that happened last night, things were about to get a little worse for the mayor. Jordan was the first one up and dressed and on his way downstairs to the dining room. He knew, given how close Diego was to the crime scene, there was bound to be something plastered on the cover of today's paper. The look on Patricia's face when he walked into the dining room was all he needed to know that it would be a bad morning. As Jordan grabbed a plate and started to dish up his breakfast off the side table, Patricia placed the newspaper next to where he was seated, open so he could see the headline. Holiday cheer brought to a fiery end. Town demands answers, was the headline, which was followed by a good-sized picture of the town tree ablaze, while residents ran, and in the corner is Brian, with his mouth open, just staring at the tree. He's on his way down, sir, Patricia stated, as she walked back into the room. Jordan was quick to fold the paper back up and sat on it. Morning, Jordan said as Brian walked in, looking haggard, as he must not have slept very well. I wasn't able to sleep a wink last night. All I could do was see the tree burning over and over again. It was a total nightmare, Brian responded as he made his way over to the side table, Patricia already pouring hot water for his tea. Are you sure that you want to go back to work today, given what happened last night? Jordan asked, afraid he was worried about Brian's safety, and his life was at risk once more. If the killer has no issues with lurking into buildings, what is to stop him or her from going into Brian's office to finish the job? That is something Jordan did not want to think about. Oh, don't you worry. I just got off the phone with Dugan, who's sending Doobie to pick us up and take us to the station. Apparently, he has some news that he needs to discuss, he said as he sat down to eat his scrambled eggs and bacon while sipping on his Earl Grey tea. Sheriff Ratchet was very clear that both would be present at this meeting as it involved Jordan. Brian and Jordan continued their discussion about this meeting as Patricia went to answer the door, as she could have sworn she heard knocking and then the doorbell. Sure enough, as soon as she answered the door, it was Doobie. I'm here to grab the mayor and Mr. Prescott. Are they ready? He asked as he was led inside. They're finishing breakfast in the dining room. They are expecting you. This way, she answered as she led the way down the hall, Doobie following close behind. The ride to the police station was quiet. Why speculate what Dugan had to say when in just a few moments, both would find out. However, this meeting just got more interesting after Brian came into the back conference room just to see Director Valerie Winchester and Judge Stephanie Wallencheck, along with Sheriff Ratchet, and someone Brian did not know. Benson Templeton. Valerie spoke first, as soon as the door was closed and everyone had found a place to sit. Well, all besides Brian, who didn't make it to a seat before stopping dead, only to stare at Dugan. "I gather by your expression you know who that is," she said as Brian slowly sat down next to Jordan. "Of course I do. A name I was not ever hoping to hear again," he replied. "Who is Benson Templeton?" Jordan asked, as he could clearly see that whoever this person was bothered Brian. Valerie did not hesitate to explain who this person was and how he was connected to all of this. Benson Templeton was a resident of Stratton who ran the local gun shop before his arrest. After Brian became mayor, Benson was not pleased and would do anything and everything to show his non-support for the town's mayor. Constant complaints, outbursts at town meetings, taunting the mayor's office with numerous calls, even went as far as sending derogatory and threatening letters to not only the mayor's office, but his home as well. Valerie continued as everyone listened. Charges were filed with the court after he broke past the security guard on duty at Town Hall and waltzed into the mayor's office with a gun. Jordan quickly grabbed Brian's hand as he was hearing this for the first time. This was 2 years before Jordan stumbled upon Stratton. He was charged with a felony count of threatening a public official. He was released after coming up with the money to post bail. After that, no one has seen or heard from him until now. Debbie is the one who was working for him. It is where he had learned everything he could about the mayor, from his daily meetings down to what time he was going home. According to her letter, Prudence, the mayor's housekeeper, was not supposed to be at the mansion and had saw Mr. Templeton in the act. "What about all the others? How do they fit into all of this?" Brian asked, as he was finally getting answers. Yet, did he really want to know? "Oh, that you can read for yourself in today's paper, as it seems Diego already published the story," Dugan said, as he slid the Stratton Gazette across the table. "Brian never did read the paper this morning. Jordan said they never got one." Brian's face went to that of someone who was punched in the gut. "They seek my resignation? Of all the things I've been through, now this?" Brian said, as he read on, eyes widening as everything about the murders, outside connections, and even this ghost nonsense, claiming the mayor has lost his mind and the ability to run the town without causing bloodshed. "It won't come to that, Brian. We will get to the bottom of this and find Mr. Templeton before he acts again," Dugan said, as Brian just continued to read, to see what his town really thought of him. Thanks for listening to another episode of Murder in Stratton County. Until next time, an R. Mason Media production, 2023.